Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. If you remember correctly, last video we messed around with Truenas a little bit. We created a couple of local users, we created some SMB shares, we assigned those users to those shares, and everything seemed to work pretty great. Fairly great. Pretty good. Excellent. Today, in a video that we're going to be talking about this, we're going to step it up a notch and we're going to introduce central user management into the mix and how we're going to be assigning SMB shares automatically to our users. Before we continue, please remember to like and subscribe. Your support goes a very long way. The plan for this video today is going to be divided in a couple of steps. Number one, we're going to assign a static lease to our Truenas server inside of our network. Number two, we're going to join our Truenas server to our Active Directory domain. Step number three is we're going to create a home folder for our Active Directory users. And step number four, we are going to assign a wildcard to all of our Active Domain users so that when they sign in, they can immediately access their new file server share. So, one step at a time. Number one, we are already located into our pfSense, and as you can see, our victim Truenas server is located at 192.168.1.52. Let's go ahead and give it a static lease of 192.168, whoops, my apologies, .1.10, so that we can keep it easy. Make sure that it properly points to our DNS server, which is going to be located at 192.168.1.2, which coincidentally also happens to be our Active Directory server. We're going to save our DHCP lease. And while it still has that IP, we're going to go to it and we're going to reboot it so that it takes the new network configuration. Go ahead, click on restart and restart. Now that our Truenas server is back up and running, the next thing we need to do is join it into our Active Directory. So let's go ahead and do that by the following. Log in to your Truenas server and under Directory Services, click on Active Directory. You are going to see the domain credentials. So go ahead under domain name, fill out the domain. Under account name, fill out the account for the domain administrator. And under the domain account password, just go ahead and put the domain administrator password and then add a check mark to the enable box and then click on save. What we can do to verify is that we can shift over to our Active Directory server, and under the DNS manager, we can refresh it one or twice to verify that the Truenas DNS entry has been added to our DNS manager. And as we can see over here, we can confirm that it has indeed been added and Truenas has successfully joined our domain. Let's go ahead and get back into our Truenas configuration. We have completed our first two steps. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a unique share so that all of our users can use it as a home directory. So go under storage and under pools. You want to make sure that you only have one share, and it's going to be essentially the root of your virtual disk. So whether it's going to be Z2, Z3, whatever it is that you require for your data, go ahead and just create that and leave it as a root. The next thing you want to do is you're going to scroll down to sharing and you're going to open the Windows Share SMB tab. Click on the add button, and under the drop down tree, you're going to select your disk root. And under purpose, you're going to select private SMB datasets and shares. And in the description, you're going to give it a description. So my.office domain users file storage, and expand advanced options and enable the use as home share option, and click on submit. When you reach this page and it prompts you for permissions, just leave it as default, click on save, and continue on. The last part of what we currently have to do is just add the user folder wildcard, so that when the user logs into any system, they will be automatically mapped to their home folder that's going to be located on to our Truenas file server. And the way to do that is actually fairly simple. Um, Before we begin, actually, we're going to do that onto the Active Directory server, because I did have to do a little bit of double checking and verification, because Truenas is, let me put a little bit of a preface here, because it's probably important to it's actually very important to say this. I don't know if I have made a error into the configuration, because currently Truenas creates two sets of folders. It creates one inside of the root, and then it creates a second one that's inside of the homes subfolder. I'm going to do a little bit of digging into it. I think I must have created something that just duplicates everything. If that's something that bothers you, just whenever you're creating the home share, the Active Directory file share, just do not enable the home share directory. This is basically what I mean, okay? If you don't want it to give you that duplicate of user folder and then /home/user folder, just do not enable this part right here. If you disable this option, it's just going to fully disable the home share folder, and you can still use the // file server / username for the home share location, or sorry, for the user share location. Please allow me to demonstrate. Back into the Active Directory server, we want to go into our users and computers. And basically, what we're going to do, we're going to select both Bob and Linda Belcher, but we're gonna have to do it one at a time, okay? Under accounts, or sorry, profile, we're going to give it a home folder. We're going to connect the letter, and we're going to give the file server domain name. In our case, it is / /Truenas. But instead of instead of filling out the username manually, what we're going to do, and I'm going to demonstrate it under Linda Belcher, is we're going to do connect z / Truenas % username %. And it's going to tell you that the home folder was not created because the path was not found. It is totally okay. The home folder actually does get created. It's just an empty error message, if that makes sense. So now, when I go ahead and that's the Active Directory server, I want to do it on the Active Directory client. When I go ahead and log in as Linda Belcher, in some cases you might have to log out and log back in to see this. As you can see, Linda Belcher was created. Now this is under the network location. As you can see, we do not see it yet as a mapped letter. So let's go ahead and sign out from the user that we just assigned it to and sign back in. And now if we start the File Explorer, we are going to see under this PC a network location that shows up with the Linda Belcher folder and with our little file. And that's how you set up Truenas with Active Directory, and of course with the user wildcard that you can use so that you don't have to worry about memorizing or manually entering every individual's username. I do want to underline one very, very important detail. Is whenever you're going to be creating a Active Directory users, you have to be extremely careful with how you're going to be doing the naming convention of the users themselves. Okay, this is a very, very important asterisk. You always have to have, please follow my train of thought, okay? If my username was Belcher.l for Linda, okay? The problem is that if you put it in this format, Truenas is going to go haywire. It just does not like a single character after an asterisk. So what you essentially have to do, if you're especially managing this for home, small business, big business, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? Just make sure that it's more than 3 characters. So in our scenario, what we're going to be doing and to correct Truenas from going haywire and making sure that our shares are properly accepted. So, and to keep the format that we want to keep, family name dot, say, first 3 letters, we're going to do it in a similar, in the following manner. Belcher.lin and then 1, 2, 3, or whatever the 3 digits of the employee number could be. It's just something for you guys to think about. It's something that I did not find in the documentation of Truenas. It's something that I had to learn through trial and error. And I only found about it accidentally. So maybe if the IX system staff could potentially do a little page with regards to documentation on the naming convention for the users that Truenas likes and doesn't like, that would be greatly appreciated from people who are trying to use this software in a small, medium, large business environment. That being said, thank you all so very much for joining into this video. I will see you all in the next one.